Once upon a time, not so long ago, there was a bachelor working in real estate and he was new to the grind. A wannabe famous girl who never works a job, who knows how to write dating contracts. She says we gotta hold on to what we've got, even if it one-sided, it will mean a lot. We gotta hold these fake babies, and that's a lot for love. Please give me a shot. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, hold me like I'm pregnant. Take your hand and place it right there. Hold me like I'm pregnant. On my moon bump belly, the bachelor starts running away, but there are pea sticks thrown in his face, and the girl says all I did was get pregnant by the bachelor. With two PJs gave away. Oh, we're halfway there. Hold me like I'm pregnant. Take your hand and place it right there. Hold me like I'm pregnant. On my moon bump belly. We gotta hold on to these fake babies, and they are coming whether you're ready or not. This is all I've got. Oh, we're halfway there. Hold me like I'm pregnant. Take your hand and place it right there. Hold me like I'm pregnant. On my moon bump belly.
Hello, everybody. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Loud Little Ducky. We are getting into the newest bankruptcy filing for Ronn, Owens, and Jan Black, Elizabeth Naylor, Laura Owens' parents, who is the pregnancy faker. And they've already filed bankruptcy once before, and it was dismissed for them not doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were not making the payments. They weren't turning in certain things that they were supposed to be doing. So it got dismissed. And then the only requirement that is time-wise that is in place is it needs to be at least 180 days later from the last time. It has been well over 180 days. So they are filing this new bankruptcy. Now, before they filed Chapter 13, this go around, they are filing Chapter 11. And the interesting thing is already we have seen in this bankruptcy case that Jennifer Giamo, who was the U.S. trustee watchdog in Laura Owens' bankruptcy case, is already been assigned to her parents' newest bankruptcy case as well. We know that Laura dismissed hers voluntarily and is not allowed to apply for bankruptcy for a year anywhere in the United States. And this coming after that U.S. trustee, Jennifer Giamo, questioning Laura with the hard questions. You said this on this date, this on this date. Now what you're saying is this. So Laura didn't ask it. Are Jan and Ronn actually going to go all the way through with this bankruptcy? To me, it is just a delay tactic because they filed this right before their house that is foreclosed was going to go up for auction this past weekend. And so now that auction and the selling of that house is put on hold until the end of July, which is coincidentally right around the time that Laura Owens' criminal trial is supposed to be starting as well. So we're going to compare and contrast the numbers put in the two different bankruptcy filings to see what they say has changed and what has not changed. Um, and oddly enough, doesn't look like they've mentioned the GoFundMe in their in their newest bankruptcy filing either. So they're keeping that under wraps. But is it really under wraps or does Jennifer know about this? So that is one of the first things that we're going to get into. Then I ran across when I was trying to create the thumbnail for this and getting picture of Ron Owens or Ron and Jan a video that is from September of 2014. And it is Jan and Ron on this news station talking about Ron's Parkinson's. And so I thought we would take a look at this. I haven't seen this anywhere before. Maybe somebody else has covered it, but I want to look into this because this is something that they are continually using. We also know that um, back in like 2015, 2016, when Mike Maricini was dating Laura, he had Parkinson's then. He was going to die. He was on hospice, supposedly, all this stuff back then. And so she's at least been using Laura and Jan have been using Ron's illness as an excuse for many court hearings and everything to get sympathy. And so we see it again, even in the newest bankruptcy filing, as an excuse to delay payment on filing fees. So I figure let's go back and take a look at when he kind of decided to talk publicly about this. We know that he, retired and all of that. But when he was going to go about things and have a surgery and everything like that, it actually on this one of the segments we are going to watch, it has Ron Owens' doctor who did a surgery that was running these Parkinson trials for Ron on the program with him and Jan. All right. No, they weren't hard questions, Rob. They weren't. Um, but it is for when you're lying and you have to remember what you said at that time because it fitted you then, and then what is going to fit you now, and how can you explain why you said two different things um, on her own. So they weren't difficult. If you're telling the truth, they wouldn't be difficult. But we know they are not telling the truth. All right, let's see here. Yeah, a stay of foreclosure. What is happening here? I don't know what I just did, but no. All right. So let's pull some of this up. Big Tiff did go over this, and so I wanted her to handle that dismissal or the bankruptcy stuff. Sorry, dismissal is Aaron Spencer's case, which I will be going over. So, case was dismissed. I'm so excited for Aaron Spencer. That never would have happened without the appeals court stepping in and this new judge being appointed. But that is for another day or another time. Alrighty. Actually, first, let's bring this up. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Yeah, this will work. Don't forget to hit the like button. Comment down below on replay. Interact in the chat. Subscribe and turn notification bells on because my streaming can be sporadic. And share it out if you so choose. Those are all free ways to support this channel. So hopefully y'all can see this, but this is my spreadsheet because love a spreadsheet. And basically, where did that? Okay. So we have the total estate. And the chapter 13, they listed the total estate as $750,000. But in this newest chapter 11, the total estate is put at 1.5 million. So that's a little bit of a difference. I don't know why it jumped. The estate jumped so much. Person property, which I'm guessing is what they've put into it, paid into it off of the bill, is not changed. It is 11,300. And then total of all property. So now just the real estate itself, and then total personal property is what it is. My bad. Is 11,300. And if you add those two up in the chapter 13, it was 761,300. In the newest one, it's 1,511,300. $511,300. Reading numbers. The credit property claims is $1,789,876.23. I don't see a credit property claims on the chapter 11. I just didn't run across it. For unsecured priority claim, it is listed as $0 on both of the filings. And then unsecured non-priority claim was $511,327.21, But in this newest one, it's listed as $0. Total liabilities are changed because of the the differences in these numbers, whereas the old one was over 2.3 million, and the newest one, it is 1.9 million. So they've been able to make themselves like broker in that area. Not their value of what they have is higher in the estate and property division, though. So those were the liabilities are lower in this newest one. Then for income, I guess their income got raised even more. Their monthly income is 21,000 and $83. In the old one, the newest one, it is $21,333. So they have like almost $300 extra from the two different filings, but their expenses grew. Their expenses now or then were 6,640. Now their expenses are $20,926. I don't know why their expenses have multiplied like 4 or 5 times. And so once you subtract that number can't be right. Hmm. Okay, so it's not if you subtract, it's just the statement of your current monthly income. Back in on the chapter 13 in 2025, it was 15,416, and now it sits at 14,939. I don't know where they get those calculations from, but that's what it is. So they have less on this one. Their miscellaneous goods furnished also increased. Before it was just one was 1,500. Now it's $2,750. So I don't know what furnishings they've got now that they didn't have last year. They probably shouldn't have more furnishings. They also in the chapter 13 put appliances at 700, kitchenware at 300, and miscellaneous home tools at 250, where they claim that is not claimed on their chapter 11. Goodness. Hello, everybody coming in. Yeah, and how are you broke and still traveling at least once a month to California? All right. And then their electronics, they claimed the same at $1,150. The miscellaneous clothing is 400 and their wedding rings are 500. They claim 0 on pets, um, which they probably could have put the dogs here, but they put 0 on pets, but then they say they have 7 horses and 1 dog. And they valued the dog and the horses at $1,100 combined. But they say $1,000 is the worth of 7 horses and $100 is the value of the dog. And then the dollar value of those things from electronics down on is $5,900. And then we have that they have no retirement or pension. They said that they don't have either one of those, or it's classified at $0. What is happening to my chat? All right. They have no family support, which to me, this is where the GoFundMe should have been. They do have family support. And then they have no trusts because I guess Jan has gotten everything that she's going to get out of the trust or whatnot from her mom passing. And then their bank accounts and what they have in those, and then what the businesses earn are the same. Ronn's life insurance is valued at $0. And the complete dollar value of money that they've got is $5,400. So that they say that in the Bank of America checking account, which they've got several checking accounts with Bank of America, they say this particular one has $100. The savings account that goes with that one is $100. Another checking account has $5,000. Another Bank of America checking account has $100 as well. And another bank account has $100 again, which that's amazing that 2025 and 2026 look the same. So is your $21,000 that you get a month, is it not going into any of these accounts? Because you would think these numbers would be different. But that is the financial looks on that. And then I believe it's page 17 in this one. Yeah, page 17 here. And page they have $0 for vehicles. All right. Oh. I think I got these mixed up. They put clothing and wedding rings and no, home furnished. Yeah, they didn't put the household tools on this one. I thought I got them backwards, but I didn't. All right. Then we have creditors who have claims secured by property. So Sinlar, let's take this down. All right, stop screen share. Okay, so Sinlar is listed as the amount claimed is $215,000, and then the value of the collateral is the 1.5 million, and so the unsecured portion is $215,000. But last time, so it went up because, and this is their property. This is, where did it go? And they don't have, but it says at least one of the debtors and another. Check if this claim relates to a community debt. So they checked those. On this one, they didn't put in HELOC. But let's move over to this one, which they did. This is the old one where they put HELOC. Date debt was occurred was 2024, but they had 199,800, still the 1.5 for the collateral, and the unsecured was same as the 199,000. No. Okay. So then after Sinlar, which is their housing, they have select portfolio servicing. And let's see if this one is the same. No, I guess it would go up. This is for their first mortgage. And on this newest filing, they have 1.6 million, but then they have 1.5 million listed as the collateral. So the amount of the claim is the 1.6, the value of collateral that supports the claim is 1.5, and then where the other ones were the same, this unsecured portion is $190,000.76. And this was a 2024 loan. And she has other listed as first mortgage. Yeah, I'm guessing I would hope that they have filed those tax returns that they hadn't filed before they filed this again. I'm hoping so. Because what are you doing if you still haven't done that? If you're going to file for this stuff, you have to make sure those are done. And then 0 on that. Let's see what else. Your co-debtors. Do you have any co-debtors? Yes. Within the last 8 years, have you lived in a community, property, or state or territory? Community property states and territories include Arizona, California, Idaho, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Puerto Rico, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin. They say yes. Did your spouse, former spouse, or legal equivalent live with you at the time? Yes. And then they have your co-debtors are Sarah and Christian Navarro on both of these loans, I'm guessing. But on the old one, they also put ADT. So I don't know if they paid the $248 that they owed to ADT, but they did not put that on the newest one. Because here, they didn't put their creditors. Or, oh, yeah, they didn't put these creditors on there. But if you look at this old one, they have, oh, these are all non-priority unsecured. So we have ADT. So I thought that they were covering it. They also have Affirm Inc., which is miscellaneous purchases on credit. That's almost $5,000. They have American Express, which is a credit card, which is at $50,000. APS, which is a service, is $556. Another APS at a little over $1,000. Bank of America is at $10,000. That's a credit card. It says miscellaneous purchases on credit. Another Bank of America miscellaneous on credit is almost $30,000. Another line of credit that they had at Bank of America was over $25,000. Another miscellaneous purchases on a credit was almost $24,000. Some more Bank of America. I don't know how they're getting all these different Bank of America things. And they have all these debts to Bank of America. I'd be pissed if I was Bank of America. $77,000. A business card for personal liability and business debt, $26,975. Which business is that for? Because why? Another business card, a little over $9,000. Banner Health, $218. This is Jan and Ron's Banner Health, I'm guessing, not Laura's. But this debt occurred in 2025. Bascule Equine Underwriting is a little over $1,000. Capital One credit card, a little over $31,000. Somebody named Carolyn Becker, which is a loan, was $9,300. The Cherry Tech people, $940. Citi credit card, almost $43,000. Another Citi credit card, $478. They owe the city of Phoenix $500. Unpaid parking tickets, speeding ticket. What is the city of Phoenix? What would they owe? What would they owe on to the city of Phoenix? Right. Like, and this is how I was like in Murdaugh. Corey Richins wasn't as crazy. I bet she wishes she could have gotten loans upon loans upon loans like this, but she didn't. Um, and I don't even have credit cards. I like Jesus. My medical stuff on my credit score keeps me from having a credit card. So, no credit cards for me. It's just, do you have the cash or not? Discover credit card is a little over $7,000. Maybe it is the waters or utilities, garbage. Yeah, that could be. Which I would just be like, well, you can keep your trash then. And I'd be cutting off the damn water. Um, Genworth, I don't know what that is, but it's over $4,000. Great American Insurance, $218. Hap Hansen Stables. This is, I'm guessing, where the horses were, or Sirocco maybe was kept at one time, because I doubt he's still kept there. That is a little like 1,700. HDI Global Insurance, 1,100 basically. Jeremiah Harris, no clue who that is. A little over 2,000. JPMCB Card Services, 6,000, which is a credit card. JP Morgan Chase Bank, the lawsuit, they owe Chase from that lawsuit 37,000. Hold on just a minute. I've got to turn on a fan. It is freaking, I'm dying here. All right. Okay. I'm back. I'm telling you, this feels like hot flashes all over again. And I'm a person that is normally really, really cold. Okay. Texas Packet says Genworth is a financial type company out of Phoenix. It's life insurance type thing. Hello, Toadette. Hello, Miss Wings. Hello, Miss Scheller. Texas Packet. Carmen, not Electra. Wallace Juno. Teresa. Razmataz. Yes, everybody hit the like button. Oh, Rochelle is in here. Excuse me. All right. So let me see. All right. Let's go back to this. Okay. Lou Spivek, 26,000, which is the key. Storage fee expenses, which are Mark Naylor and Dr. Dale Gunn, $1,700. That one should be easy to just go wipe out. You shouldn't even have that storage anymore. Net credit, which was a loan of 3,870. Another net credit loan, 5,334. One Claim Solutions, 800. Russell Equine Sports Medicine is medical help for the horse at about 1,300. Schneider's, 445. Statewide Moving, 25,000. Those debts occurred in 2025. What the hell are you moving in 2025 that costs that much? Or storage? The hell? Syncbee and Amazon credit, $1,100 basically, as well as $99. See, this is shit that you can get rid of if you make 21,000 a month. The amount of shit I could get rid of if I made hell, if I made $4,000 a month, I would be sitting pretty. Syncbee Care Credit, almost 10,000. Another Syncbee Care Credit, 9,000. Target Card, 1,700. Tractor Supply, 3,000. That's probably for the horses. Upstart Loan, 13,000. Wells Fargo, 235. Then list others to be notified about a debt that you already listed, which is Credit Control and Zwicker and Associates. And then here it says taxes and certain other debts you owe to the government. They put $0, which this is their previous one that they filed, their Chapter 13. Well, you don't know that if you hadn't filed some of your taxes, because she claimed that she owes nothing to the government, but she also claims that the government doesn't owe her. Well, if you have unpaid or unfiled taxes, how the fuck do you know that? Or, oh, it was supposed to be filed and they didn't file it. I thought they were filed, though. I did everything I was supposed to do. Let's see, student loans, 0. Let's see, all other non-priority unsecured claims, write that amount here, 511,000. All right, so let's go to this one. All right, so this is the newest one. They list that they are both retired. Interest and dividends, $250. Social Security, one of them has it for $2,000, and then the other has $3,664. Other monthly income, one has $4,983. The other has Ronn has $16,350 for a total of $21,333. Because they're making more than they did last year somehow. Maybe it's just because they got a raise on certain things. Let's see. Home maintenance, repair, and upkeep expenses is listed as $300. The rental or home ownership expenses for your resident is $12,286.15. Electrical, $515. Water, sewage, garbage, $600. Phone and internet, $500. Food and housekeeping supplies listed at $900. We're not putting in Laura's stuff, are we? Oh, because the last one they listed pension. Last time they listed they had a pension at $2,730 and $12,686. But they're saying they don't have a pension this time, or maybe it was the last. I don't know. That's weird. They say they have pension money, but they said that they don't have a pension when they were asked, "Do you have a pension?" Which didn't make sense to me because I don't see how there's no way that Ron didn't have a pension. Their food and housekeeping supplies number is the same. They put $0 on last year's bankruptcy for the rental and home ownership expenses for their residents. So at least they added that this time around. Yeah, it's just weird. Um, all this free time that they had, they could have learned how to cook. They could have learned how to cook. And that was the thing that I don't know if anybody remembers last night. I lost my train of thought at one thing and I thought, "Oh, there was something important I wanted to say." Thing is I could understand maybe back in 2014, you know, back a couple of years ago, especially before COVID, maybe that you could, go out to eat and stuff like that. But the amount of money that it costs now to go out to eat for 3 people is has gone up so much since 2020. Like, it's not even cheap to go to a McDonald's or a Taco Bell anymore. I mean, it's still cheaper than some places, but there are some fast food restaurants that it is cheaper to go to, like, Chili's. And it's just crazy that you're spending $20 per person basically now when you go out to eat, when it could probably cost you maybe around 20 bucks, um, or 30 bucks maybe for you to make a meal at home. It's just right. They have a nice home and they don't do any cooking. Cause why do that? That's what Laura could have done on some of these dates is go take a cooking class with them. There's you a date idea. How are you going to be a proper wife? That was very sexist to me to say. All right, but it's a joke. Life insurance is 1,500. Health insurance 225. Animal maintenance $100. Monthly expenses $20,926.15, which leaves them after they subtract from their net income only $406. I say lessen your food and housekeeping supplies. Let's see, personal products and care, 250. Medical and dental expenses. Transportation is $650. Entertainment clubs, recreation, newspaper, magazines, books, charitable contributions, and religious donations, $100. Cut it out. You don't need any of that shit right now. And yeah, get this food and housekeeping bill down if you can. That should not just be for you and Ron. And there's no reason that one person requires $1,500 a month. Because what the fuck? All right. Okay. And see, here is where they've got their pensions listed as well. The pensions for 2024, pensions for 2025, and I'm guessing this top one is pensions for this year. All right, let's see here. So she lists, okay, here's where she lists the thing. Legal actions, repossessions and foreclosures, the Chase v. Debitor lawsuit. And that. I don't know what all this stuff is. And they list their businesses. Let's see here. Yeah, and then they've got pensions. They've got pensions listed on both, but one of them they did not put. They checked that they don't have pensions on one of the things, which okay, you just switch that to a yes, but it's just really interesting. See, there's no signature on these old documents. It's just typed names as signatures. Unlike the new ones have a wet signature basically on them. Then it's been scanned in. But that is what I found. Like some of that stuff is very interesting that so much has changed. Yeah, they've got yes, Toadette. Owens on her bankruptcy filing said that she had $1,500 for food and household stuff herself. And her parents together only had 900. So it was just weird that Laura by herself had way more expenses. Yeah, it just makes no sense because it's just all lies. And there's ways to do things better and they just don't. Oh, that's right. Owens can bake cookies, which means you can prepare a meal. Sorry. Make spaghetti. Like you can make basic stuff. It's not hard. Like they're just simple things that you could make at home. Especially like Jan could learn how to use a freaking crock pot because those are great. All right. So then but I wonder why they decided to file chapter 11 this time and not chapter 13 again. You know, they say that their debt is between 1,000 and 10 million. Which isn't most people's. like, or wait, right? Yeah. If you have more than $10 million in debt, I don't know what to say to you. And then how many creditors do you estimate is one between 1 and 49? So we'll get rid of that one. All right. I'll share this tab. Share screen. All right, here's a deficiency notice. This was okay. That is not what that. Okay. Notice to debtors of incomplete or deficient filings, and that debtors must file all required documents or their case will be dismissed without further notice. Notice is given that the above debtors, Ron and Jan, have filed a voluntary petition and that debtors have not filed the documents checked below or have filed them without all the required information. Failure to timely file all required documents with all required information and within the time periods stated will result in the dismissal of this case. And these things need to be done within 7 days of the filing of the bankruptcy petition. A typed list of creditors in the required format of a master mailing list, a verified statement of Social Security number. The petition indicates that the briefing from an approved credit counseling agent was received 180 days prior to filing and that the certification of completion was attached. However, the certificate was not attached as indicated. That should be a real easy fix. Just send that over. They took that crediting class and those certificates were from 2020 or no, they had to redo those then because seems like the counseling they did for 2025 wouldn't be good. Well, it might still be good because it's 180 days prior. It's more than 180 days prior, but maybe they have to do a new one. The petition indicates that the briefing from the approved credit counseling agency was received 180 days prior to the filing, but the debtor did not have the certificate of completion at the time of filing. A copy of the certificate and payment plan must be filed within 14 days. A petition indicates that exigent circumstances exist pursuant to 11 U.S.C. 109 H3, which prevented the debtor from obtaining credit counseling, and that the circumstances merit a temporary waiver, or that the debtor is not required to receive a briefing about credit counseling pursuant to the code. These indications require further explanation in the form of a separate sheet or motion. Schedules of assets and liabilities, that needs to be filed within 14 days. Statement of financial affairs, 14 days. If a Chapter 7 debtor's schedule of assets, okay, this is not a Chapter 7. This is not a Chapter 13. Okay, Chapter 11 statement of your current monthly income is required to be filed in 14 days. Chapter 13 statement of your current monthly income and calculation of commitment period or after Chapter 17. I don't know about that. All right. Declaration of employer payments. She's with all pay stubs. Let's see here. Declaration under penalty of perjury for the debtors without an attorney is required to be filed within 14 days of the date of filing. And that is signed by the clerk of the bankruptcy court, May 26, 2026. Yeah, they just stopped paying everything. but somebody is paying for Laura Owens' attorneys right now. Who is that? How are they paying for Laura Owens' current criminal attorney? I think that needs to be answered. Okay. All right. And then oh, thank you, Miss Scheller. Nope. No GoFundMe is listed, even though it should be under family support, in my opinion. All right. Notice and order setting Chapter 11 status conference. That will be held on July 7th at 10:30 a.m. At the U.S. Bankruptcy Court. The nature and be prepared to address the following issues: the nature of the debtor's operations, the factors leading to the filing of Chapter 11, and the status of debtor's post-petition operations, whether the debtor is current on filing monthly operating reports, paying U.S. trustees fees, and paying ordinary course post-petition expenses and lease payments, all issues and disputes that must be resolved by litigation or negotiation before a plan of reorganization can be filed or confirmed, and any other impediments to filing of a plan, the status of pending litigation involving the debtor, the setting of hearings on use of cash collateral, utility issues, lease assumptions or rejections, and or exclusivity, whether the debtor is a small business or whether the case qualifies as a single asset real estate, a deadline for filing a plan and disclosure statement, a deadline for filing of proofs of claims and interest. The debtor is directed to mail a copy of this notice to and order the U.S. trustee to all counsels who have appeared in this case or any related contested matter or adversary proceeding, to all secured creditors, to all lessors of real property, to all members of the creditors committee, if one has been created and it does not have counsel, and to the 20 largest unsecured creditors if no committee. It's not a committee. It's not a committee anymore. It's a committee. And this is signed by the Honorable Madeline Wansley, a bankruptcy judge, of May 26, 2026. Committee. Yeah. It's like, yeah. It's a clapping community is what committee is. I don't know why y'all don't understand that. Yeah, at least we have spelling. All right. So that was that bankruptcy thing. And then let me pull up. All right. No, that's not what I want. All right. And then we've got these court documents where Ron and Jan would like extensions because, they've only been messing with bankruptcy for over a year now. Why would they actually be ready to file again? That would just be too much. Okay. Sorry if you cannot read this very well. I cannot zoom in on Twitter, unfortunately. But I am going to read it to you. Okay. So this was filed today, June 4th, 2026. Debitors motion for extension of time to file schedules and all other required documents, because even though we've had a year, we are not ready, because we just did this so that our house wouldn't go up for auction so soon. Elizabeth Naylor and Ronn Owens, debitors and debitors in possession, herein debitors, appearing pro se, respectfully move this court pursuant to federal rules of bankruptcy procedure 1007C and the inherent authority of this court for an extension of time to file their schedules of assets and liabilities, schedules of current income and expenditures, statement of financial affairs, declaration of debtors with no attorney, and all other documents currently due on June 5th, 2026. So you want to file this the day before your shit is due. Okay. Debitors request an extension to and including June 26, 2026, in support thereof. Debitors state as follows. I mean, will they probably grant them an extension? Yes. Does it suck? Yes. Because we know they're just gaming the system. Jurisdiction and venue. The court has jurisdiction pursuant to 28 U.S.C. This is a core proceeding. Venue is proper under the codes. Debitors are operating as debitors in possession pursuant to 11 U.S.C. Background. On May 22nd, debitors filed a voluntary Chapter 11 petition on an emergency basis without counsel to preserve the automatic stay under 11 U.S.C. and prevent the non-judicial foreclosure sale of their primary residence, which was scheduled to proceed on May 26th. The petition was filed in good faith and for no purpose other than the protection of debtors' home. Well, at least they admit it. It's still not going to matter. You're not going to get to keep your home even after this, because you're not going to do what you're supposed to. Debitor Ronn Owens is 80 years of age. He has had Parkinson's disease for 25 years, a cancer diagnosis, and a serious heart disease. So this is not new to you. His illnesses are not new to you. They didn't just spring up out of nowhere. You knew this when you filed this, that you had to deal with that. You knew it before when you filed your bankruptcy, that he had these things. To me, I don't know why this matters, but they got to play victim. The property is adapted to accommodate Mr. Owens' medical needs and to support the provision of his ongoing care at home. Its loss would deprive a disabled man of medically adapted home in which he receives daily care. Debitor Elizabeth Naylor is 69, 11 years younger, and is Mr. Owens' wife and full-time caregiver. And they have an adult daughter with autism who also resides on the property. Yeah, wait till you meet this autistic daughter, Judge. You will realize she's not actually autistic, in my opinion, allegedly. From March 2026 forward, debitors worked extensively with an attorney towards the filing of Chapter 11 petition if one became necessary. On May 21st, 2026, the day before the petition was filed, debtors received assurances from the attorney that a petition would be filed on their behalf the following morning, and the parties spent multiple hours that day in substantive preparation of the documents that would accompany the filing. On the morning of May 22nd, 2026, debtors were informed that counsel would not be proceeding with the filing. With the foreclosure sale 4 days away and no alternative available, debtors filed the petition themselves that morning. I wonder why this attorney, whoever they were, if he was even real, chose not to file this. Because the petition was filed on an emergency basis without counsel, it was submitted as a skeleton filing. The following documents are presently due June 5th, 2026. The schedules, the statements of the financial affairs, the declaration of debtor with no attorney, and all documents required by the federal rules of bankruptcy procedure. Debtors seek a 21-day extension to file all of these documents. Like, you've been planning to pull this shit. Like, why don't you have any of this shit ready? You should have had all your affairs in order to do this, because you knew you were going to be doing this shit again to make it to where your house was not auctioned off. They knew well before 4 to 2 days before all this shit. They knew well ahead of time that this shit was happening. And if they listened to any of JFC talk about this shit, they definitely knew. If they look at Reddit, if they look at Twitter, they knew when the fuck their house was being foreclosed on. They don't need an extension. They should have had all this done. I don't give a shit if you had an attorney or not. You should have had it all done. They do need to listen to Big Tiff, but they don't. Right? Just on the tube. I love how they're like, this was filed in good faith. Oh, cool. Here, we were just thinking it was a classic example of a bad faith filing, but since you said not, you fixed it. It's all good. Yeah. We believe that this was filed in good faith. Mhm. Off you fucks, as Jeff used to say. Yeah. She is a dependent adult. She is fine. Like, they don't have to like take care of yeah, they have no intention of proceeding with gathering the required documents. Their past history is an indication of future failures to comply. Yep. Oh, that's a good point. Jill PX. She said, I'm here late, but doesn't seem to be much for medical expenses yet. That's what they are claiming was an issue in their carefully worded GoFundMe. They just lie. They're just delaying the inevitable. Like, what the hell have you been doing all these months? Like, they just sit around with their thumbs up their asses. Since filing the petition, debtors have been engaged in daily consultations with prospective bankruptcy counsel. In the week following the filing, debtors had anticipated immediately engaging an attorney and were in active discussions towards that end, but determined that the complexity of this case warranted interviewing additional prospective counsels before committing to representation. The deliberate approach reflects the significance of the decision, not an absence of effort. You only put in 1 week worth of effort. Sorry. I don't give a shit. Debtors anticipated formalizing retention within the coming week. They intend to file the required documents completely and accurately in full compliance with the bankruptcy code and the court's requirement. The filing of this motion is itself evidence of intent. Well, excuse me if I don't believe you. The legal standard. Federal bankruptcy procedure authorizes the court to extend the 14-day deadline for filing the required documents for cause, but you don't have anything that's like a new cause. They're going to give it to her. But anyways, cause under Rule 1007(6) is accessed in light of totality of the circumstances. Courts in the Ninth Circuit grant such extensions freely when the petition was filed on an emergency basis, which you didn't have to file this on an emergency basis. You could have filed this the correct, like, non-emergency basis. You also could have just done your first bankruptcy correctly, and maybe you wouldn't be losing your fucking house. Or pay your bills and keep your daughter out of fucking court. When the debtor lacks legal representation through no fault of their own, it is your fault. When the debtor's health or circumstances render compliance with the difficulty period impracticable. Like you said, you've been dealing with this for 25 years. There's no like health emergency or circumstances that have made it to where you can't deal with this. All of those circumstances are present here. No, they're not, but sure. Argument. Compelling cause exists under Rule 1007(c). The 14-day period provided by Rule 1007(c) contemplates that a Chapter 11 debtor has the assistance of legal counsel in preparing the required documents. Without counsel, a debtor must independently identify and value all assets, compile and classify all liabilities across secured, priority, and general unsecured categories, document all income and expenses streams, and complete a statement of financial affairs. Why don't you have most of this done from your previous one? Documents that attorneys and their professional staff routinely require substantial time and judgment to prepare accurately. The task is made more demanding here by the composition of the estate. The first mortgage is held through a private label scrutinization trust that has been the subject of loss mitigation proceedings since early 2025. The estate carries a second lien and unsecured obligation. Debtors are committed to filing schedules that are thorough, accurate, and complete. The extension they seek is the time that responsible preparation requires. Maybe the reason you cannot get an attorney for bankruptcy is because you can't pay them? How do you go about getting a bankruptcy attorney if you're broke? Yep. I mean, he does have Parkinson's. We have that, and he's got just, natural old age. But that's it. Yeah, and then you go to an expensive ass gym, which I don't know where Barry's is reported on their income disclosure statements either. That sounds so fun, Wallace. We need to have JSC cult picnic with black chair races. Yes, please. Let's do it. And then here we go with the Title II of the American Disabilities Act independently supports this relief. As a public entity subject to Title II of the American with Disabilities Act, 42 USC this court is required to make reasonable modifications to its rules and procedures to avoid discrimination against individuals with disabilities. Well, Jan, you don't have any fucking disabilities except for stupidity, but that's not a disability. That's a choice. Debitor Ronn Owens, advanced Parkinson's disease, cancer, and heart disease constitute physical impairments. He doesn't have cancer right now. He is in remission if it has been 5 or more years. And I don't know when the last time he had cancer was, but it's been more than 5 years. Physical impairment, substantially limiting major life activities within the means. Ron isn't doing any of this shit anyways. And so I guess, yeah, sure, it's just you having to get all these documents, Jan, but you knew this. A 21-day extension of the filing deadline to allow a disabled debitor and his co-debitor wife and caregiver to participate meaningfully in their own bankruptcy case is modest and plainly reasonable modification. This ground is stated as an independent basis for relief. Whatever. Give her the fucking 21 days. It's still not going to change shit. No party will be prejudiced. No creditor or party in interest will be prejudiced by this extension. This case is at its earliest stage. No plan has been proposed. No confirmation hearing is scheduled, and no party has taken any action in reliance on the June 5th deadline. No, the only ones that suffer are the people that you owe fucking money to and that need you out of that house so somebody else that can pay for it can move in. Because at the end of the day, you're still not going to fucking pay your bills. You're still going to lose your house. It is what it is. You just need to accept it. But we know the Owens are not very good at accepting reality. Filing by June 26 affords the Office of the United States Trustees and all creditors 4 days to review the documents required before June 30th meeting of creditors. The extension requested is precisely calibrated to serve the interest of all parties and the orderly administration of this estate. Oh, great. Everybody else gets 4 days to review the shit that you're going to file and possibly compare it to some of the shit you filed last year. Just 4 days. That's not a prejudice to anybody else. And we can still have our meeting on June 30th, guys, because you'll have 4 days to review all this shit. I'm not going to file any of it correctly either, so then we'll have to deal with that. But, the extension request is precisely okay. All right. Prayer for relief. Debitors respectfully pray that this court enter an order granting this motion. Ugh. I don't like you using pray either, because I don't think y'all are religious, except for when it suits you. Granting this motion, extending the deadline to file all schedules, the statement of financial affairs, the declaration of debtor with no attorney, and all other documents required by the federal bank's rules of bankruptcy procedure from June 5th to June 26, 2026. Considering this motion without a hearing or an expedited basis, given the proximity of the current deadline being tomorrow, granting such order and further relief as this court deems just and proper. Because, yeah. Yeah, everything is all on their credit cards. And somebody just needs to take scissors to them and cut them the fuck up. Oh, well, that'll be a good birthday present for you, Wallace. Juno. All right. So it's just more bullshit that they like to do. It's just so freaking ridiculous. I think that is, let me make sure there was nothing else. Yeah, verification. We, Elizabeth Naylor and Ron Owens, debitors and debitors in possession in this above caption, verify and declare under penalty of perjury pursuant to 28 USC 1746. Their family should be very familiar with that rule. That the factual statements contained in the foregoing motion are true and correct to the best of our knowledge and information and belief. Yeah, we believe that Ron still has cancer, even though he hasn't had it in a long time. And we believe because our daughter said so, even though we've seen no medical proof of our daughter's autism, we believe that she is a person with disabilities as well. Um, Stupidity is not a disability, it's a choice. Maybe I need to make that into a shirt. I don't like them acting like they're religious when they're not. Like, I'm not a person that gets to go to church very often, but I also don't go around terrorizing people. Okay. All right, let's make sure. Alliant Credit Union has appeared in the case as well. Right now, they should be paying. It's checked off that they need to pay $34 fee for filing amendment to the mailing list or debitors schedule of creditors, Schedule D, E, F amendments, which incur the filing fee included, adding creditors, deleting creditors, or changing the amount of classification of the debt. So they can't even pay the $34. Because why? Because they didn't have to put no gas in their tank. We know Laura's not eating much, so what I don't know where the food is. And I hope that they have to pay the price this time around. I hope they don't get out of it, but we've seen them get away with things time and time again. No, they better not be paying for dating apps. They just should be on free ones. I mean, she shouldn't be on any of them, but you know. Okay. So here is this little clip. This is kind of going to be a trailer of what. Okay, sure, whatever. A trailer of what we're watching. We're going to watch because we're going to move into Ronn's Parkinson's. And so let's see here. Nope, that's not what I need. Also, oh my goodness, before we get into that, while I'm doing some math, have y'all seen the latest of the Proctor texts? from the Karen Reed thing? Oh my lord. Oh my lord. That stuff is oh mm-mm. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. All right. So here's our little trailer. We're going to share this tab. Where's my StreamYard? I think it'll be a good thing for Colin to go into the military. He will benefit from that for sure. Yep. I don't know why. Like, I wonder when they found that out, to be a fly on the wall, when Jan was like, "Oh my god, Laura, you know that lady that was rude to you on a court hearing? She's now on our case." Colin Albert, in the Karen Colin Al yeah, that's who joined the military in the Karen Reed stuff. Other than that, I don't know who Colin is. Now you got me all confused, Jen. But they clearly weren't scared enough of Queen Jennifer last time. She can up her game a bit this time since it's an ongoing problem and not a one-off situation. Yeah, hopefully in the military, Colin Albert doesn't fall and slip on his knuckles on ice on the sidewalk because that's how you fall. Is you fall knuckles down. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's turn some closed caption on. So this was September 20th, 2014. So, okay, this was done in 2014. So he hid it from people for 12 years, which means that he got diagnosed with it supposedly in 2002. So since 2002, or at least 2014, they have been using the Parkinson's excuse, which Parkinson's is horrible. I have an aunt who died from it, and she didn't last half as long as Ron has lasted with her diagnosis. So, and here we've got Ron in the green, Jan over here in the black, which she's got the black pantyhose on, which I guess is where Laura gets it from. And then this is the interviewer lady. And then this guy over here in the black suit is Ron Owens' doctor that did the trial Parkinson's stuff with him. All right, let's continue. Okay. So that's the interview. No sound. What the hell? Hmm. Yeah, there's okay. Dang it. Okay, well, hopefully. All right. Hopefully. Okay, I'm gonna play the real one. But they they talked about in this clip, he's been hiding it for 12 years. And so there's that. Then he talks about he's a small percentage of people with Parkinson's that also have depression. I don't know if his depression or his moodiness, as they were laughing about, is a result of the Parkinson's as much as it is living with the women that were in his household at the time. And so we'll hear that part in the segment again, I believe. But Jan was saying that Ronn's moodiness has gotten better with the antidepressants. That he has always been like a grumpy guy. And she says she wonders if that grumpiness was actually a sign of Parkinson's before the Parkinson's. No, it's because he has a big ego, thinks he's like Brad Pitt, and that he also lives with a bunch of yapping hens. This was September 20th, 2014. So now we're going to watch the the full thing of it. And I will make sure that we can hear it. Okay, share tabs. Maybe I had the audio turned off or something. All right. I'm going to turn closed captioning on. Okay. All right. Let me know if y'all can hear this.
Ronn Owens of KGO has Parkinson's disease. Why would I come out at this point? Because it's not like I discovered this a month ago or 2.
Can y'all hear it? Okay. So this was him on his KGO radio podcast when he admitted to it in August 25th, 2014. So let's listen to this. Now I'm glad y'all can hear it.
Months ago. I've had it for 12 and a half years.
That announcement by the legendary KGO radio talk show host Ronn Owens stunned his fans. He's been living with Parkinson's disease and kept it a secret from the public for years. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. I'm Cheryl Jennings. Now, Ronn Owens went public in an article by David Wiegand in the San Francisco Chronicle. He has agreed to talk to one television station about his condition. He is here with us today with his wife, Jan Black. I am so grateful to see you both here and just thrilled to have you here.
It's so wild being in this building again.
I know. Both of you have spent time here. So let me brag about you a little bit before we move on. Ronn has been honored with the Marconi Award in 2003 and 2010, inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame in 2007. He was also named one of the top 25 greatest radio talk show hosts of all time by Talkers Magazine. Jan Black has had her own distinguished career, KGO Radio and KCBS Radio, and was inducted into the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame for her work. And she also writes children's books. And they have 2 daughters.
What fucking children's book did she write? Where are those? That was just like a manifesting it. You just say what you want to do. Like Laura's LinkedIn. She was working on children's book and she did her journalism award was not just for her work. It was for work that she did with a group of people. But she likes to say it was all her. And then here is a picture. I want to, but I don't have an illustrator for the children's books that I want to write. I have a full concept, an idea in mind. I just don't have an illustrator.
Right now, they are all living with Parkinson's disease because when one person is sick, as we all know, everybody is involved. So thank you again for being here.
Sure.
And
Thank
I know it's like, dang.
They're all suffering from Parkinson's disease because when one person has it, everybody has it. And boy, have they taken that to heart. They play victim of Parkinson's all day, every day for 24 years, 23 years, whatever it is.
A stroll down memory lane here, looking at all your careers. It's just so remarkable. And Ronn, let's talk about this first. You decided to go public after Robin Williams died and it was revealed that he had Parkinson's disease.
Well, the basic reason was that after 12 and a half years, you get to a point where you know you're going to have to, at some point, go public. And when I saw that Robin had it and was diagnosed 5 months before, I basically didn't think that would be the reason that he would have committed suicide. And I wanted people to basically understand that I've lived with it for 12 years and it's not a death sentence. Nobody likes to hear it. But when you live with it and you just make accommodations for it.
Does your daughter and your wife know that it's not a death sentence? Because they have been taking it and telling everybody you're dying for 23 years. At least since 2014, they've been telling people you're dying and you have a death sentence. So, you know, you need to say that to them more often. Jan is obviously not listening. She does not have her listening ears on.
It's just a regular way of life, and I wanted people to be understanding that things happen in life. That happens to be the hand you're dealt. You play the hand, that's all. But I thought it was a good time to do it.
And Jen, I know you had a big role in this.
Well, yeah, because when Ron was first diagnosed 12 and a half years ago, we had talked about should he go public right then. And then we sort of decided that since he didn't know how it was going to progress, he was going to get asked a lot of questions that he didn't even know the answer to. And it was better to sort of keep it under the radar for a while. Also, even though Ron's parents had passed away and my father had passed away, my mother was still living. And I was very concerned about how worried she would be if she knew that Ron was dealing with that and how it would impact the whole family. And so we were able to keep it from her. And I'm glad that she didn't have that worry, because there's nothing you can do about it, you know.
She kept her husband's Parkinson's from her own mother, not Ron's parents, because they were already dead. But she was able to keep it from her mom so that her mom wouldn't worry. Is that why you kept it away from your mother, or is it that you don't really talk to your mother and you weren't close to her? But aren't you the best daughter ever? You kept that your husband had Parkinson's from her so that she wouldn't have to worry about y'all. Y'all, she is so kind. She is like best daughter ever.
know, if someone you love has Parkinson's, you need to live with it, but you don't need to dwell on it, I guess, is the thing, every single day.
Now, Ron, when you told your daughters, did you wait? Did you hesitate? Were you
Told them
nervous
right
about
away. That's the kind of family we are. Anything happens,
Nice.
we talk about it right away. It was no planned thing or something. This is what happened. We take it from there.
Mm-hmm. And they were young. They were teenagers at the
They
time.
were 11 and 13 at the time. And I think now they probably don't remember a time when he hasn't had Parkinson's, because it's just been a part of our family life for.
She says, sorry, I'm pausing it so much. It's one, so I can do fair use, but I got things to say too. But Jan even says, you don't have to dwell on this Parkinson's things every day, but you do. And so does your daughter. And I can tell you right now, Laura doesn't remember a time that her dad didn't have Parkinson's, because she uses it to play a victim. I am the daughter of somebody with Parkinson's. I'm the niece of somebody who had Parkinson's. Okay. Yeah. Jan is uncertified. That's something that she could have done in her spare time, was get certified. Did she? Nope. I'm so sorry, Texas Packet. Yeah, they do remember what's before 11 and 13, but she doesn't know shit. She doesn't know crap.
The last 12 and a half years.
You were joking when you walked in here to say, okay, do you want me to start shaking for you?
Yeah, I can shake for you, but that's phony.
Yeah. So what did you notice for the first symptoms?
Jan noticed it. We were having a dinner, and she said, your hand's trembling a little bit. And so I went to a regular physician, and he said, yeah, it is. It's probably just essential tremor, which you look up, and I guess when you get older, that happens. So I still went to the, I said, do you want me to see somebody? He says, it might help. And I went to see a neurologist, and that's when I found out I had it.
Did it take a while to get the diagnosis, though? Or the
No, he did it in about 15 minutes. He had done a bunch of tests, and within 15 minutes, he said, that's what you've got.
And then said, how did you even process that?
Yeah, denial. I mean, you just get into the car and you think, did I just hear what I thought I just heard? And then you start to learn to live with it, and you look it up, and that's basically all it is.
But, it's interesting because, you're not just an ordinary citizen. You're very high profile. Both of you are. And you went on social media. You talked about it on the radio that one time.
Right.
But your Facebook fans, when you went public, had some wonderful comments. And we have a couple we want to put up on the screen right now. And one of them is from Joan. And if we can get that Facebook posting on the screen right now, she said, thank you for sharing. A cause gets more positive attention when celebrities are involved. Best wishes to you. And
these are the compliments to stroke your ego, Ron. I don't know if this is the same Joan or not. But yes, it can bring more awareness. Eric Dane, who was recently diagnosed and passed away from ALS, brought back people to learning about ALS. Bruce Willis going through the stuff he's going through. It's bringing attention to those causes, which is great if you want to use it as that to help people. But this family uses it. Now, I don't know that Ron uses it I don't think Ron uses it as an excuse to play victim. He's just like, okay, yeah, I fucking have this shit. Let me live my life. But Laura and Jan use it to play victim and woe is me. But I don't think Ron plays victim with it like they do.
And then we also have one from Jackie Walker. So glad you're doing well. There is no way Parkinson's could ever define you. And
that was my worry.
You've been talking about that.
That was my absolute worry, that I didn't want to be defined by it. Michael J. Fox, what a great actor. But the first thing you think about with Michael J. Fox is Parkinson's. And I just felt after almost 39 years in the Bay Area, I did not want to be identified by it. I wanted the quality of work.
Jan and Laura would like Ron to be like Michael J. Fox. And Michael J. Fox has had it for a long fucking time. And does he have some limitations and stuff? Yeah. But he's still out there acting, married to the same amazing woman that he has been married to for a really long time. And he doesn't want it to define him. But his wife and daughter bring up Parkinson's every chance they get to define their father. Who is Ron Owens? Well, he was a Radio Hall of Famer and he has had Parkinson's for 20-something years. That's how they describe Ron Owens in all the court filings we see. Radio Hall of Famer and has had Parkinson's for over 20 years. He's also had cancer and heart disease. They're the ones that make Parkinson's define Ron Owens. And it's disgusting. And he should be pissed off about it, but he's not. Yeah, but he's also recognized by a bunch of people as being the father to a fucking disgusting daughter who is a pregnancy faker, a manipulator, a scammer, who steals people's identities, makes up people's identities, forges documents, commits fraud, right along with her mother, in my opinion.
That's fair. The fact that I have Parkinson's, so I do. I just didn't want people to say, oh, poor Ron, he's got Parkinson's. No, I don't need that.
Yeah.
That's why I said we do it one time, say it, make the splash, but the next day everybody's forgotten it, you move on.
All right. Hold that thought. We're going to take a break right now. And when we come back, Ron's doctor, Dr. William Marks, is going to join us to talk about Ron's treatment and treatments for Parkinson's disease in general. Please stay with us.
And just found out they had it or think they might have it, and they turn around and they say, yep, this disease really sucks, but I can battle it and I can still live a terrific life. I've been doing it for the last 12 and a half years, and I intend to do it for a long, long time.
And we are so glad. Welcome back to.
So he states in this interview that he wants to talk about it, announce it, put it out there and all that. And then that is that. Yep, he has it. Okay, everybody knows. Now let's just get back to daily life. Did he want his Parkinson's brought up and used as an excuse over and over and over and over for over 2 decades now? Is this what he envisioned? Does Ron know that they keep putting his shit in these filings? Or he's like, oh, just use my illness as a thing now. Because he doesn't give a shit. He's like, yeah, if it helps you to use me, just put it in there. We're all victims.
Beyond the headlines, we are talking with KGO radio talk show host Ron Owens and his wife Jan Black about Parkinson's disease. And joining us right now is Ron's doctor, William Marks. He's a professor of neurology at UCSF. And thank you for being here.
You're quite welcome.
I know that you're an expert on this disease, and you've also edited a book about this, which we're going to show folks in just a minute. But when you talked to Ron, did it take a while to diagnosis with him or to work with him, or how did that?
Well, Ron and I have been working together for about 5.5 years, I think. Yeah. So when he saw me, the diagnosis had been made, and he really wanted to discuss his present treatment options and to try to really optimize his symptom control. So that's what we've been focusing in on.
And then he was joking about the shaking thing in his hand. And so what are some of the symptoms?
Yeah, well, Parkinson's disease is a disorder in which the brain's motor controlling areas deteriorate. And so the symptoms tend to be movement type symptoms, classically tremor, particularly when the arms are at rest, slowness of movement, whether handwriting or getting up from a chair, problems with stiffness of the muscles, and also difficulty with walking and balance.
And I noticed that Ron has a Band-Aid around a couple of fingers here. And Ron, that you said you got that from another side effect.
Well, it's another
this, right?
part of Parkinson's. You tend to fall every once in a while if you're klutzy, and I did. So this one I fell. I actually broke a couple of bones, but they'll be fine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So interesting. They talk about the handwriting. So this was 2014. Damn, I cannot do math. So this was 12 years ago. And handwriting can be affected. But Ron's handwriting is at 80. And with this disease that he has and these horrible tremors and things like that, he can still file a wet signature on his own. He still signed these bankruptcy documents that we read today. No, I doubt that, Jan. I would like to see his current signature. Because I'm betting it doesn't look the way you did it.
It's a good story. It's a good anecdote.
How did you find Dr. Marks?
There was a neurosurgeon who I forget how I became acquainted with, but we were talking, and he was saying there were two really incredible doctors in the state of California, and that one of them was in Sacramento and the other in San Francisco. Yeah. He's the guy from San Francisco. I'm not going to turn that down.
That's perhaps a little exaggerated, Ron, but thanks.
No, I think it's true.
Yeah. And then, Jan, I imagine you're part of this discussion with the doctor, too.
I've been to one appointment with Ron and Dr. Marks. At this stage of the game, I think it's just, Ron's very,
he's mobile, he's independent.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's really not an issue. And he gives me a full report on what he's told at every appointment and that sort of thing.
Well, and I really want to emphasize Ron has been an ideal patient with whom to work because he's so participatory. He takes control of his Parkinson's. He's in with a list of his symptoms, the issues he wants to focus in on. Whereas in many cases, having the spouse or caregiver present is extremely important, but he's a fairly independent guy.
Fairly independent.
Big kudos there.
All right.
You're a celebrity, Jan, you're a celebrity. There are so many celebrities out there who, like Ron, kept this a secret. And we have a picture of some of the people that you might recognize at home. Of course, Michael J. Fox, you work with his foundation.
Right.
And Charles Schulz, the Peanuts creator. And Linda Ronstadt, and nobody wanted to go public with it.
Yeah.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why
I think what I said before. You don't want to be defined by it, and you don't want people to feel sorry for you.
But I think that sometimes there comes a point where, like we've joked about this, but if we're at a restaurant and Ron is a little slow getting up from the table or stumbles a little bit, you don't want people to be thinking, boy, he must have had, a few too many drinks with dinner or something. So
not necessarily.
But I think there is kind of the balance that when you no longer feel comfortable hiding it.
And we had talked.
And that's sad that people want to hide it. Because I think part of it is kind of being in denial a little bit, not wanting to be seen different. So Muhammad Ali had it, I guess. Robin Williams had it. And then some of the other people that they mentioned, but Michael J. Fox is one of the biggest ones that they know. But of course, Jan is worried about public perception. Oh, what if they think he's drunk? Fuck those people. Who gives a shit? And then she here is like, I've been to one appointment with this doctor sitting here. Which, okay, she probably has to go to all of them now, but what the fuck do you mean you've only went to one appointment? I get that he can go to his appointments by himself and he's independent and okay at at this point during this interview 12 years ago. I'm sorry, I would be at that doctor's appointment if it was my husband. If it was my kid, this is the type of doctor's appointments that I would be at. And maybe she went to the first and very important person, one. And then if it's just like a random, just plain checkup, maybe she doesn't go to that. But what a loving, supportive wife you are, Jan. Well, who's not annoyed by her? No thanks. Okay, well, that makes sense because I was like, I didn't know Robin Williams had it, but at this point he was still alive, so they thought he has it. It's just, yeah, you can hear things a different way if you go than they do. You can think of questions that you have, and sometimes guys they're just like, okay, doc, whatever you say. And they don't have any questions, whereas a woman's mind usually has more thought out stuff. And maybe it's not just a man or a woman or women that are like that, but because when my grandma got older, she just was like, believe all doctors, don't ask questions. And I'm like, no, grandma, you can't do that. But yeah, I'm like, no, we have these things. And even now, my daughter and I, if we have doctor's appointments coming up or whatnot, like we'll make sure we note questions that we want to ask the doctor next time we see them. So
just before we got started today about because it's a brain problem.
Yeah,
right?
I think there's even more stigma with neurological conditions, particularly those that cause visible symptoms like tremor or difficulty walking. Certainly anybody with a serious medical condition may be reluctant to discuss it if they're a public figure, but there's something I think unique about neurological conditions like Parkinson's.
Oh, I think that Ron is amazing in the way he is taking control of this. And you were, just before we got started, you were saying, did you take your meds?
Yeah. He's very good because he does have to take them
five times
a day. Okay.
5 times a day, and then I take another one before I go to bed.
And what kind of medication are you on?
It's called.
see, even here, she's like, oh, like 3 times a day. He's like, no, it's 5 times a day. Like, she don't fucking know. She's fucking clueless. She tries to be the supporting wife. She wanted to be here not to support Ron. She wanted to be here because it was her chance to be on TV and people to see her. And they had a little section where they boosted her ego too. And she can just act like she's the supportive wife. But she's not comfortable on camera. You can see that because she face blocks all the time.
It's the Levo, and I take it at 5, usually 5, 9, 12, 3, and 6.
And so there's no cure for Parkinson's, but you say that you can control the symptoms?
Yeah, there's a lot of research going on trying to establish a cure for Parkinson's disease. Right now, most of our treatments don't cure the disease, but they can be very effective at treating the symptoms. And in fact, the medication you're on is a medication that's been available now for a number of years, but it helps replenish the brain's dopamine levels, which is the main chemical deficiency that Parkinson's causes.
All right. We're going to have to take another break. We have a lot more to talk about. So coming up in just a moment, we're going to be talking about the groundbreaking treatments for Parkinson's disease and why support is so important. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Jan just sitting there with her mouth open half the time too. Good thing she is face blocking the camera because her mouth is just like Like, just shut your mouth. Mary Poppins would be
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines.
mad.
We are talking about Parkinson's disease with KGO radio talk show host Ronn Owens, who just went public about it after hiding it for 12 and a half years. His wife, Jan Black, is here, and also Ronn's doctor, William Marks from UCSF. And Dr. Marks, I want to get back to this book that you edited on deep brain stimulation management. This is a long term for DBS is what you call it for short.
Yeah.
Right? And Ron was talking about the medications he's on, but for folks who get to a certain point, they might want to consider this, but take me back to the medication you mentioned earlier. It was being used in 1964.
Right.
Has it changed?
Well, once we learned that Parkinson's causes a depletion in a key chemical in the brain, dopamine, we found a medication that could be used to replete those levels.
Okay, so that's all of that, I guess. But that is the majority of this. Yeah, but Jan just sits there, nods her head with her mouth open. Just like, what? Are you look stupid. So stupid. The f- is this? Okay. Where is this? Nope. Stop that. Okay. And then let's see, this was in 2015. So this was after he had some surgery. Yeah, insurance coverage for over 65, especially if you're disabled, is, I mean, a lot of it is covered. I mean, they say 80%, but it seems like it's way more than 80%. And so I just don't see how their medical expenses can be so high. I'm not seeing it. I think they're just lying about it. I wish they had to prove it. It's almost 100%. When I was on disability myself, and um it was it was basically 100%. You meet your deductible and you're like covered. Your prescriptions are free. Like your equipment, your medical equipment and all that mine was covered for things that I needed. My hospital visits free. Like, I mean, there are some doctors that don't accept it, but most of them did because I had Medicare, Medicaid. So that was my supplemental. But he was in this experimental program with this doctor. And I mean, it seems like it did good because he's lasted for a while. But maybe Parkinson's, it's not as, I think it depends on how fast certain things happen for you, but it can be bad, but there's a lot of people that just live with it, and symptoms suck, but they still get to live. So this next one is just a report like about a year later. Yeah, and since I don't have disability insurance anymore, which I am looking at getting back on it, because my body just keeps shutting down and not doing great. So it's to the point where I'm not going to be able to work really. I already can't work that much. Like it kills me to work. I hurt every day that I work, but I have to have some money right now. All right, so this one is a report from Friday, August 7th, 2015. Ron Owens was recovering from after a brain surgery, UCSF in San Francisco to ease symptoms of Parkinson's. He says when asked what he was having done, Owens replied, just the normal thing. Go in and have a couple of holes drilled in your head and have some wires put in it, he said. Just the normal shit. Owens kept his wicked sense of humor hours before his brain surgery in San Francisco. Owens spoke with ABC 7 News to talk about the procedure called deep brain stimulation, for DBS for short. He is coping with Parkinson's disease for 13 years and only went public with it in 2014. The KGO icon appeared exclusively on ABC 7's Beyond the Headlines with his wife and Dr. Williams Marks from UCSF. Owens didn't want the surgery then, but needs it now. This last year, it's gotten worse. This year, I'm bumping into things, falling a little harder to get up from a restaurant table, things like that. And this is the time to do it, he said. So he had the procedure in 2015. Neurosurgeon Paul Larson performed Owens' procedure. He's an investigator for the largest clinical trial of Parkinson's disease treatment through DBS right now in North America. DBS acts like a pacemaker for the brain, using electrodes to send impulses to areas in the brain linked to movement disorders. What Owens is hoping to get out of this, he said, if it works, I'll get back 5 to 7 years. In other words, it takes me back to 5 to 7 years ago when I had Parkinson's and nobody had it. Nobody knew he had it, could see it, and I wasn't really shaking, he said. So this 2015, this all happening during the Michael Maricini timeframe. He was having things did get worse, but then he had this procedure that was supposed to make him and revert him back to 5 to 7 years earlier, where his symptoms didn't show. And yeah, I think Megan played that interview, BRB Queen. Yes, Tony Marie, that is correct about Robin Williams. Oh, keep us informed, Rob. Ooh, good to know, Texas Packet. I will hit you up. I've got to get new stuff from my doctors with all this other stuff that recently got diagnosed with my hypofat. Let's see. I think Ron is condescending, Tony. But you know who? Well, okay, some drug trials and treatment trials that you go through, a lot of them are free. Sometimes you even get paid. I was going to participate in this rheumatoid arthritis clinical trial, and they were going to pay me to do that one. And then ended up not being able to do it because of life, which maybe it would have helped, because most of the rheumatoid arthritis medications that are out there right now are not doing much for me. I think the procedure helped Ron to an extent, but he's also up there in age, and so I don't know what there is at this point that he could do. Could he get a new little electrode monitor? Is there medications and stuff, and things like that? Is there something with if you have the electrode thing for this Parkinson's thing and you have some heart disease, do they interfere? All these different things that possibly can maybe work together or not work together. But then there's always things like that to afford that type of doctor, because he sounds like he's like really, really good. You have to have money, because well, he might have been retired at that point, but he isn't like he wasn't using, like, I don't think Medicaid or Medicare back then. So he was probably paying that doctor good money to see him, being that he's one of the best people in California. And there's a lot of good doctors that are in California that people would love to go see, and they treat the people with money out there. So, but that is what we have today. I just randomly ran across it trying to make a thumbnail, and that came up, and I was like, ooh, this is new. I haven't seen this before. I mean, it's old, but it was new to me. And it's interesting to see Jan Black still wears that same outfit to this day. Just like her daughter wears the same outfits all the time. For your clothing to be worth $400, why are you wearing the same damn outfit every single day? Yeah, he probably has good days and bad days. He's 80. You can have bad health. Now, I have a client that I work on, and she's in her 80s. And I tell you, she looks so much younger. She looks to me like maybe she's in her 50s. But she is 80 years old. She is very active. But she is starting to experience certain things, and and she has to remind herself that she is in fact 80. And so even though on the outside she doesn't look 80, and her mind doesn't feel 80, her body is trying to slow her down. And she's like, I still want to go to Zumba. I still want to go out and hang. I want to go to these concerts and plays and explore the world. Like, she's so active. And her body sometimes is like, how about we just don't raise our hands above our head anymore? Yeah, he almost looked like he was out of it in that wheelchair pic, which it was ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, I don't think Jan looks like she's in her 70s. Or, I mean, fixing to be 70. She's 69. I don't think she looks like she's almost 70. Like, but that's me. She's insufferable for sure, but Laura has aged quite a bit in the last few years. Maybe she has a club foot. Who knows? All right. Well, that is going to be it for this video. And I don't expect to have any more Owens content this week. I am going to be putting out the newest dismissal, exciting dismissal of Aaron Spencer and his case being dismissed, and seeing what the judge said. When the prosecution is the one who should have dismissed it, the judge decided to dismiss it because of Brady violations, is my guess. Also, I'm going to look at the updates that have happened since court has been let out for the day on Carmelo Anthony. I saw the midday stuff. And Minnie, you do not look like you are fixing to be in your 70s. I'm going to need to see a driver's license. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining me. All right. What should... I think we're just going to end. We're just going to end in today. All right.